We're
Yeah.
at Airbnb, and can I just tell you that I have seen like the creepiest coffee cups in the world. Like this is one of them that I'm drinking out of.
I feel like I want to
I
start
don't
the
even
episode with that. There we go. Welcome to Meat Based 7.
know. Here we go. We're in it.
We are so in it. Those are creepy. That's nearly as bad as when I arrived in Amsterdam and I had that guy's creepy photos all over the wall. So
Okay,
we're
your
doing well.
situation way creepier. Like this guy isn't gonna do much from the cup. Just like haunt my dreams a little bit, but
Exactly.
you know. But I will say, Josh, it is like okay, it is 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now in Mountain Standard Time, and now I live in that mountain life in Boise, and we've been here 4 days. And let me just tell you, Josh, it is cold. It's
Cold as
cold,
shit.
man. It is 20. Okay, actually, I need to like figure out what the actual temperature is outside. But when I looked this morning to take the dogs out, it was like 16
Oh my word. That
degrees. So I don't know what that is. I think it's like -5 in or -10 in Celsius.
that is
Yeah.
scary cold. I'm not too sure I like the sound of that, to be honest with you.
It's honestly, here's one thing I will tell you. Like I had a very so I don't know if you noticed this about Amsterdam, but like we have dogs, right? So usually on like a regular basis, we interact with a lot of people in a day
Mm,
and we say hi, we exchange hellos, and it's really nice and friendly. And like we really like that. That's one of the benefits I think to having a dog. That's how we meet a lot of people. In Amsterdam, like nobody would come up to us and like say hi to our dogs, right? Like it was very like cold.
mm-hmm.
And so when we're in Boise, we went to, of course, like the super hunting gun store up here, which is called Cabela's. You'll come when you visit, we'll take you there. It's amazing. So
Can't
it's
wait.
everything like hunting gear. They have like a huge like gun collection as well. Anything for fishing, boating, rafting, dogs, like anything you need, right? So it's Walmart, but like all hunting focused. And so we went there and we decided to bring the dogs because they can't go out that much and it would get them exercise and it's a huge store. So I was complaining to Taylor how cold it was. And we were like inside of there and just like, I was overwhelmed by how many people came up to us, said hi, were seriously so freaking friendly. Like from like grandpas to like young female adults, like literally like every single person came up, said hi to our dogs, looked me in the eyes, said hi
Mm.
to me. And so like afterwards when we got back in the truck, keyword truck, I love it so much. Sorry, I have to like drop little like things about my truck all the time. It's really dumb, but that's for my sister. She hates that. But anyways, we get back in the truck and I like literally am like crying. And Taylor asked me, he's like, what's going on? Like people probably think like I made you cry or something. And I'm like, no, like I was like, honestly, like how nice people are and that experience I just had in there for like an hour
Mm.
makes up for the cold, like tenfold. I
Yeah.
was like, that is because you have to remember this is night and day for us. Like Amsterdam, literally no one would come up to us, say hi to dogs, nothing like that. Here, it's
Mm.
just like you have that small town feel. Everyone wants to say hi, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
Like
So it
it's
is
just
quite a small
heartwarming.
town. Is it like, and do you pronounce it Boise or Boys? Because I thought
No,
it
no,
was
it's
pronounced
not a small
Boys.
town. So just to clarify, Boise, I
Oh,
think is
is it?
how it's actually pronounced. There's no
Okay.
actual Z. But it's not a small town. It just has a small town feel.
Feel.
This
Okay.
is the northwest, I guess, but it's more like mountain area, right? Like
Yeah.
there's literally slopes just like down the way. So like, and everyone here is like, like there's a lot more jobs in like construction. Like there's a lot of blue collar jobs, right? There's a lot of
Mm.
people that are ranchers, farmers, like stuff like that as well. So it's more of like that country feel. But
Mm.
like I honestly was so overwhelmed. Like it was just really, really heartwarming and just a great
Oh,
experience.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you. That's
So
so cool.
me too.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds
same.
awesome. So how was the I did a bit of Instagram stalking as one does, and you had some interesting meat-based snacks there on the road. Can you, what was your go-to snacks for that what was it, like 9 hours, a 9 hour drive?
So it was a 10-hour drive. So we drove from San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent like the last 2 weeks in San Diego, right? Like if I was going to come back to the US, I was going to get some sun and see family. We drove to Salt Lake City where we have like two of our friends have two kids there and they have a house there in Salt Lake City, in like the Jordan area. And so we stayed with them overnight. So it was 10-hour drive. And then we drove 6 hours from Salt Lake City, Utah, up to Boise. And it was a beautiful drive. But my snacks, like I don't want to feel sick on the road. Like I don't. Like it for me, it's not worth feeling sick in the car, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh Taylor, like pull over at this stop or pull over this stop. Like that's not fun. So my go-to is usually any type of sugar-free jerky or sugar-free sausages. I try to look for the ones that have like the least amount of, crap in them, right? Like, so I'll never, if there's vegetable oils, I won't get it, of course. But like if I see something that maybe has like one or two things that I'm like, I'll probably still do that because it's better than if I ate like a processed Pop-Tart or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Not that I
Yeah.
would do that, but and then I usually always have boiled eggs. I didn't have boiled eggs this time, which was kind of annoying. But gas stations have hot dogs in the US. So I went to this one gas station and they had 6 or 7 different types of hot dogs that were like already like grilled on the little thing. I don't know if you've seen those before.
Yeah, I have. It's amazing.
Okay. Yeah. And so I like got one. One was like a cheese and ham one. And then I got a beef one. And seriously, those are like some of the best hot dogs I had, like I haven't had hot dogs, but they were like sausages too. So that's like it's very doable. Like when I hear people that are like, oh, I just couldn't do it, like it's too restrictive and everything, like I was full on the whole trip, like I was never hungry. And here's the thing, like I've said this before in like my post, Chaco has said this, like a human can go 31 days without eating. You sure as hell can go like 3 hours without eating. Like you're not gonna die.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
So like if you literally have no options, you can fast a little bit, right? Just for
And
like a very short period of time.
because you generally like, I've noticed we have like sort of different eating patterns as well. Like you generally like to eat later in the day, and I like to eat earlier in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so have you always been like that? Because I've actually changed. Like I used to be that person that sort of like fasted until 12, 1 o'clock and then ate late in the evening. But I'm not too sure like what happened and why I transitioned. But yeah, I have noticed that you
I
tend
would
to
be
eat later in the
curious to
day.
see why you transitioned as well. Like why when we say like transition, it sounds funny. Like transitioning our eating.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, so right now, what I'm having in my cup, right? I have Kerrygold grass-fed butter in here, like a little bit, probably like half a tablespoon. I have just drip coffee, which I'm waiting for my espresso machine. So this is like a
But
rare,
wait,
rare
please tell me
time.
it's blended. Please tell me it's not just like thrown in there and stirred with a spoon.
Oh my God, no, dude. Like I have my
Okay.
little like
Okay.
my little machine thing. This is like, so there's two things I never go without. Tongs when I travel internationally, because now I do it all the time. Tongs and like my little frother. So like I put that at the bottom of it and then I froth everything together. And then I
Nice.
put some grass-fed milk, and usually I'll put a little, like, not stevia, but there's a specific one that has a little bit of monk fruit and a little bit of stevia. But I have to read the labels of all stevias because it wasn't until recently that I realized that there's maltodextrin and dextrose in stevias. And I'm like, dude, like you're marketing organic, like literally we went to the store, I was like, organic stevia. And Taylor's like, look at the back. And I'm like,
Look
oh,
at the back.
okay. I'm like, you're speaking my language. And so I
Yeah.
look at it and it was like maltodextrin, dextrose, and like, oh my God, sucralose, right? So like Splenda. And I was like, are
Yeah.
you freaking kidding me? Like, what?
And this is
How
coming
are
from
you like, how's
Taylor.
this
Like,
organic? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's probably my
So
husband. I'm like,
big ups.
oh, okay. But anyways, so I always do butter. there's about this much coffee, actually, if I'm being honest. This is how much coffee I drink once a day. This
Hmm.
much. Like, people think I'm crazy, but this is enough for me. And then I have 1/2 tablespoon butter. I have some grass-fed milk. I was actually looking at heavy cream options at the store because I usually like heavy cream, right?
Mm.
Um, so this is like grass-fed whole milk, which I usually don't do. I usually do heavy cream. And I went to the store and I was looking again. This is all I do is just look at labels 24/7, keep my life interesting. Um, all of the organic, like heavy whipping creams and stuff, they said like 2 ingredients, like cream and then like guar gum or sour guam or something. And I was like, that's like an anti-caking agent or something. And I was
That's
like,
like
why can't I
that's a good
just get
clue.
milk?
Yeah, that's a good
Right?
clue there. If you can't pronounce what's ever in the back, just don't buy it. There we
Yes.
go. Just
Yeah.
pro carnivore
So
tip like 235.
yes, right. So like instead I got grass-fed whole milk because I was like, okay, it's one ingredient, milk. And it expires sooner. And I was like, that's fine with me.
Mm.
So that was just interesting being back in the American stores. I mean, I wouldn't really tell if it was in a Dutch store, probably. Like I can't read anything in Dutch anyway. Anyway. But yeah, so that's what I drink. So back to your question, right? Like I will have this in the morning. So I don't think that's technically fasting, right? Because I'm having butter and I'm having some other stuff. But this has tended to be enough for me until I actually get to after like my workout. I've actually always been like this where like literally like my best. So I played like D1 volleyball for a little bit in college. Like my best games were when I ate absolutely nothing and just hit the court first thing in the morning. Like I
Mm.
don't know why. I can't really explain that, but I'm very used to fasted exercise, fasted working out. I feel like my brain can think and I don't have to, I'm not like waking up my stomach yet, I guess. It might be different because now I eat better. But yeah, like I just do more intuitive eating, I call it, where I don't really have any hard and fast rules. But if I am like super hungry and maybe I have some bacon or something or some sausage in there, I'll cook it before like I go to the gym, but that's pretty rare. Like it would have to be like super hungry, but I just listen to my body. Like I'm never like I this is kind of funny, but I never feel like I'm restricting myself like ever. Like I don't feel like I'm restricting myself, I guess. Like I'm over that. Like I'm fucking done with
Mm.
that. I don't want to restrict myself ever again. So that's why I'm not really like that's why I got this guy, this pig man.
Love Pigman.
And I need to start
Yeah.
chugging it because I haven't had enough.
Yeah, I appreciate the early time difference. Yeah, accommodating me. But I think the key thing you mentioned there is intuitive eating. And um I think for me, I've just naturally shifted just because I work out in the morning. Like I actually
Yeah.
used to work out in the afternoon quite a bit. So I think that's probably the reason why. So I could get away with like just having a bulletproof coffee and
Wait,
like
wait. Let's
waiting.
clarify though. The workouts you're doing, Josh, are like gnarly. Okay. Like me, like I'm not at that level quite yet. So like I understand that like what your body's doing, like you
Mm.
probably need something before your workouts, and that's totally fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've said it before, like CrossFit for me is something that I love doing. And like, I can't perform at the level that I want to without adding certain, like, let's just say non-meat based things in here and there. But
Mm-hmm.
for just to give you an idea, my normal schedule is I wake up, I have a bulletproof coffee like you, so grass fed butter, a little bit of collagen powder, a little bit of MCT oil, and that's my pre-workout. And then when I get back from gym, so that's like my pre-breakfast, my
Wait, so you're
pre-workout.
like me. We're literally the same. Like we're saying
Yeah,
different things, but we're the same.
yeah, but I've noticed like you obviously
Wait,
you eat you eat a bit later than me. I'm sure though, like maybe a bit later, but like
yeah.
that's my pre-workout. And then I work out, I train for like an hour and a half, and then I get back, and then it's usually at about like 9:30. I have my first like meal,
Yeah.
which is almost always like eggs, bacon, leftover ribeye, all of the above,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then I'll probably have like, and my sort of last meal of the day will be at like 3:30, and that would be like what, a
Whoa.
big
Okay.
ribeye or
Wait. I
something.
did not know you ate that soon.
Yeah,
I
I
did
eat
not
very
know you ate
early.
that early. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's very interesting to me because that's new. I didn't know that. And I didn't know
yeah.
that we were like basically doing the same thing. So, two things. So, once I go back to work, right? Because I've been not working, which has been like super fun. I love it. I love it a little too
When does work
much.
start? When does work start again?
Tomorrow
Oh,
morning, right?
tomorrow.
And I
Okay.
was like, I was talking to my boss, and we've been like working together for like, I worked for another company for 4 months, right? When I was in Amsterdam. But like
Yeah.
when, I wasn't gonna stay there, right? We have a great relationship. But it's so funny. I like talked to him yesterday and he's like, oh, I just want to make sure like your laptop and stuff like arrived and all that. And he's like,
Aw.
yeah, he's like, so I have good news and bad news. He's like, Monday, I'm like kind of like taken hostage into something. I won't be done till noon. So are you cool to like start at 12 on Monday? And I'm like, that's kind of early. No,
Uh,
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I was like, yeah, that's perfect. And Taylor's just like rolling his eyes next to me. He's like, I don't even understand. Like, how is this happening? And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I get like to go to the gym a little bit longer. But my point is that on a normal day, like I've like documented this on Instagram, like I'm always on my stories. Like I usually wake up with my coffee because the coffee's sacred. I read something. I take the dogs out. I make the dogs breakfast, which is usually eggs. And like some of their food. I'm crazy dog mom. And then I actually like go to the gym. So usually I put their food bowl out and then I actually just like escape to the gym. And usually I try to like leave the house by 7:30 to go to the gym and have like, an hour and a half at least there. But like I need to be back and like eating and stuff and starting my day by 9. So I think that to be honest with you, like I'm kind of in the camp where like your job, I believe that your job does not need to start before 9 a.m.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that anything before 9 a.m. is like cutting into your personal time in a way.
Mm.
So I'm very like adamant about that.
Yeah. So sorry. I actually thought that you ate a lot later than I did, but we actually do the exact same thing. When,
No, but it's actually so when I'm on normal terms here
yeah.
though, or like the last 2 months haven't been normal. So we
Mm.
probably will eat like the same. I'm gonna text you next time I'm eating and like see what time it is. But it usually ends up falling like a little bit later, even if I get home from the gym, because
Mm.
I just want to sign on and like get my stuff going.
Yeah.
So I normally will eat a little bit later, but if I come home from the gym, I'm hungry. Like I'm gonna start cooking like right away and like get this
Mm.
breakfast going.
Yeah.
So
Even,
I think we're very similar.
yeah, for sure. And even I found like, even if I'm not hungry, I
Mhm.
just prepare my food and I just wait a bit because sure as shit, just like give me 20-30 minutes and
Yeah.
I'm like ravenous. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's just about
Yes.
no, and your body truly gets into this mode where it just knows when the next like round of food is coming. And back to your point,
Yeah.
I eat really early, like 3:30, 4 o'clock is dinner usually, and then that's pretty
Okay.
much it. So
So
I'm
what
far.
time do you go to bed? So that's my question too, because some people too, like if you eat at 8, but you don't go to bed at 12, that's very
Yeah.
similar.
So I go to bed at
So
about
what
nine
time?
o'clock, about 9 p.m. each
Oh,
night. So
okay.
pretty fairly early, but I wake up at like 5. So, you know,
What would be like in your dinner? Like what, I guess, amount, like how many ounces of steak would you say? Because I think that's a very interesting topic to people that might want to eat early and then
mm,
maybe feel like they get hungry like right before bed, right? So
that,
like, because you've
that
probably
is,
adapted that over years.
yeah, that's actually such a good question. It's super, super common. And in fact, it's, it's sort of, it's sort of just about like listening to your body at the end of the day. So if you do eat early, let's just say 4 o'clock, and
Mhm.
you start to feel like a bit hungry at like 6-7 o'clock, just go grab like a boiled egg, or just something. Just get something in you. Just like not
Mhm.
something that's gonna like overload your system and like prevent you from sleeping well. But I've found that even the tiniest snack, like whether it's a bit of yogurt or okay, this is like more like meat, but like a bit of berries, a bit of fruits, whatever you want to have, like just choose to have something like not as big. But I have found that it works well having like big breakfasts, big dinner, and if you are still hungry, have like, let's just call it desserts, like something like really small, just to get you to bed, if that makes sense, just to fill the stomach enough to get you to bed. And almost always you're going to wake up and feel good. You know, it's never nice, for me at least, it's never a nice feeling when I've overeaten right before bed. I just feel so
Yeah.
stiff. I really struggle to sleep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will say, so something interesting enough is I've had 2 times recently where I have been so full in the evening to the point where, like, I'm uncomfortable.
No.
So we yeah, so, like, and this is, like, all, like, eating, like, carnivore stuff. So, obviously, we're back in the US, and so that means that there's access to barbecue, right? Like, everywhere, like, all the time, barbecue food. Like, I love beef
Brisket for
brisket.
days. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
specifically burnt ends, like brisket, right? Where like they're the ones that are like charred and it's just amazing, right? So like that is whew. So we got here, we were supposed to do dinner with our friends Thursday night at this place called Barbacoa. That's where they light the steaks on like fire in front of you. But we couldn't get a reservation until 8 p.m., which is so late because we usually eat at 5 p.m. So what we did was we're like, we're definitely gonna be hungry. Like, let's get like the snack, like a barbecue snack. Stupid. Oh, anyway, so we eat barbecue at 5 p.m. and like the brisket is so good. Like you can't really like if you have like a portion of it in front of you that's like not a lot, you're like, oh, I'm gonna kill this. Like this is
Yeah,
amazing,
this
right? And
thing's
you haven't
done.
had it in so long. Yeah, it's done. So like we do that, and then like 8 p.m. rolls around, and Taylor's like looking at me. He's like, I'm not hungry, and like we're going to our favorite steak place. Like I'm not hungry, and I'm like, oh, like it's fine, like whatever, like you'll be fine. Like you'll get hungry. I said to him like, you'll be hungry in 30 minutes. Like your body like knows it's gonna have like great steak. Um, but we were totally full, and Taylor and I like I got like a fillet that they lit on fire. He got like a huge New York strip, and he got through like half of it. And I pushed for some reason, and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna eat like 3/4 of this. And then the other thing, so one thing you don't know about me, Josh, when it's like my birthday, one thing that is super important to me one time a year is pina coladas. And I know
Mm.
that just sounds like literally like the most awful thing. Actually, I don't like give a shit, but like pina coladas, man. Like I don't know what it is about them. I feel like if I close my eyes, I'm like literally in like a tropical place or something. But like I love pina coladas and rum. So I had a pina colada and the guy brings it over and he puts like whipped cream like so high on it at this like steak restaurant. And like whipped cream,
Oh,
like whatever, that's fine. But like when I was drinking it, it was like a freaking milkshake. Like in terms of like how full I was getting and stuff. And so I have this pina colada and I'm like trying to like finish some of my steak. And I'm just like, dude, like I am at capacity. Like I'm at capacity. Like I cannot do anymore. Right. So then I went home and I slept awful. Like I was tossing and turning. Like I was just like so hot. Like it just
yeah.
was like, it just was really
It's
bad. And I just felt so sick to my stomach.
it's super, super, super uncomfortable. I know what you're going through. And firstly, happy birthday for the other day. I don't
Oh,
think I've
thank
spoken to you in
you.
person, so happy birthday.
No, no, you're fine.
I'm sure your pina colada was amazing. And actually,
It
you
was.
know, the thing is that like what's the point of eating this way? It's so you can heal yourself, so that you can enjoy yourself, so that you can like live for these other pleasures in life, which are beautiful. We're not saying that you can't have pina coladas or your favorite drink or whatever. And I'm such a big fan of the term metabolic flexibility, which is basically you want to get to a state where you're so metabolically flexible, no matter what you like feeding your body, it's using that energy in a way that like helps you and like makes you thrive. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are meat based like 90% of the time, and let's just say you have like a cheat meal or whatever on the weekend. I don't know what people do, but if that gets you through, you know, I posted this on Instagram the other day, got some good traction, but I said the good diet you follow is better than the perfect diet you quit. And it's so true.
So
Like
true.
if that, I'm not saying some people should have pina coladas like every single weekend, but if that,
You
like,
should not. I highly
you should
don't
not.
recommend.
So,
Yeah.
but if that, like, let's just say if that pina colada, i.e., that thing that gets you through and makes you follow through your diets, for me, I would say it's probably coffee. If that helps you follow through with your diets, then fuck, just do it. You know, it's not, it's
Yeah.
rather get the majority of it right, and you can sort of figure out your way from there. But I did want to touch on something. So, you know, I've been adding like a little bit of fruits into my diet here and there, especially with it being so hot in South Africa. It's so hot here. It's 30 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what's that in
Stop
like.
telling me how hot it is. Like I'm like so over that. I'm like,
Sorry.
I can't hear it.
So
No, I'm just kidding.
so
So it's
it's
30
like,
degrees. So that's about almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit
yeah.
or okay.
Yeah, it's about 100
Nice.
degrees Fahrenheit. So it's hot, and I'm sweating
Mm-hmm.
like all day long, especially from CrossFit and stuff. So because I'm training so hard and just like, obviously I need like the bit of an extra boost. So I've been having like a little bit of fruits here
Mm-hmm.
and there. And I will say blueberries and avos are like my go-tos now. Like I find they are
Okay.
okay to consume. But the other day I had a
Oh no, not
pawpaw.
like a rehash.
No,
Okay. A
do you know what a,
popo.
so we call it a pawpaw. It's a papaya, you know, papaya. It's
Oh
like a
yes, 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 I
big,
do.
yeah, we call it a pawpaw in South Africa. Like you spell it, you know, like a dog's paw, two paws, pawpaw.
Yeah.
That's what we call it. It's really
Classic.
weird.
Okay. Okay.
So I had a pawpaw or a papaya, and I had the whole thing, and it was massive. And I have never, my
Yeah, I know how
stomach,
big those are.
Nicole, my stomach was hating me. My stomach was doing like gymnastics the whole night. I literally was sitting on the
Yep.
couch, like rewatching Game of Thrones, and my stomach was like, it felt like somebody had stuck
Pissed.
a a screwdriver in my stomach and was just turning it slowly. Like that's what it felt like. So yeah, bottom line is I will not be having any of that again anytime soon.
So
But
no more papayas.
bias.
No more, no more
No, no,
papa. I mean,
no,
remember
no.
we do say this. This is all test. It's like tests, right? Like some people, like I know Paul Saladino, Carnivore MD, right? Like he's super into um just like the ancestral type carnivore base. So like the honey, the berries that are in season, stuff like that. So like we do know that like there are carnivores that have gotten to the point. We're not saying to do this right away, right?
Mm,
But there's carnivores that get to the point where they're able to, like, they're 2 years in and they're like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can handle some berries at night. I'm actually craving berries. They're in season right now. I want to just see how my body reacts, right? Like we're constantly like experimenting. So kudos to you for experimenting. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't just eat like one little bite of the papaya, but I'm also the same way. And like I've done that as well. I will say I ate avocado for the first
mm.
time in a while. And that, like, I don't know if I ate too much, but like, oh my God, my stomach was like not happy, kind of like that. Like my stomach was really like not happy with me. And I was
Yeah,
like, what have I done?
there
Like,
we go.
but yeah, so I don't know like what it is. There's probably just honestly like a little amount. Like there's some things where like I know. So like for example, right? I had so take this back for the pina colada talk. I've had 4 pina coladas this week, right? Okay. I just want to like put that out there. Okay. And
Nice.
we had 2 on like my actual 30th birthday dinner, right? I mean, sorry, I had 2. It's not we. There's no we here. It's just me. Just me. I'm just trying to like make myself feel better. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't care. So I have that pina colada, and the next morning we leave obviously for our road trip, right? This is like Monday night, my 30th birthday, and we're out to dinner, and I'm like, they had pina colada on the menu. So I was like, I had gone there 30 years of my life at this one restaurant called the Brig in Del Mar, right next to the beach. Had no idea they had pina coladas. So I get 2 with dinner, and then the next morning we wake up, and guess what? I wake up with a zit right here. Like
Mm,
literally, like the next morning, I am like zit right here. And
there it
like my
is.
zit is finally gone. But I'm like, every single time there's something, the sugar, like something that you know is just off of like your normal diet, and you do that, it's like clockwork. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, Nicole's having pina coladas, time to give her a reminder of why she shouldn't have them, you know? And then it's like literally, and it's like, it wasn't like a normal, like little zit that was like from, like maybe you got butter on your face that like clogged a pore. Oh
Yeah.
no, this was like a painful one that you literally had to like keep on your face to like wait until it was ready to like, like get rid of it.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
there. You can
I'm
feel it.
like, yeah, yeah, but it's so true, like especially for women, for females as well. Like when we eat something that we're not supposed to, and you're pretty pure on like, what you're eating, and you're eating whole foods, the second that you do that, your body is incredible. It is an organism designed to like let you know like what you did wrong, right? Whether that's your stomach getting upset from something that you ate, whether it's acne popping up, right?
Mm.
Or whether it's like having like heartburn, right? Especially from like alcohol. So those are kind of those are the things that I think make me in a way like weirdly happy, because I'm like, yep, Nicole 0, body 1. Like you won this
Yeah.
one, body. You told
Yeah.
me, but your body will do that.
It's all just information really. And
Mm-hmm.
like your skin is definitely, it's like the first sign that something like is either really going well for you or not. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And people like, I mean, you get some people that just spend like, I would hate to know how much like dollars they spend on skincare products and what a Botox and shit like that. And hey, let's just maybe think about this for a second. Where is your skin getting its like rejuvenation like from? Where is it getting its healing from? It's all coming from your gut. It's literally a reflection of
Yeah.
your gut. So if you've got loads of
Like,
pimples and
mhm.
acne and stuff, okay, sure, like hormones and stuff play a role, but majority of that is definitely caused by food. And I'm with you on that. I like, so there's certain fruits, if I eat it, I get a pimple the next day. And that's fruit. I mean, it's fruits, marketed
Yeah.
as this insanely good health food.
Whole, healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you notice, like a lot of like vegans, not to shift this into a vegan conversation, but a lot of vegans have a lot of acne. They do. A lot of my friends that like eat a lot of vegetables and eat a lot of fruits, they have a lot of acne. And
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes the sort of argument for that is, oh no, it's my body's cleansing, my body's detoxing, so it's all this acne's coming out. No, bullshit. Your
So
body just does not like what you're giving it.
I have a huge bone to pick about this, right? About the acne thing,
Mm,
right? Acne is not genetic. Like, I really don't think it's genetic. When people say that it's like hormones, like reacting, it's like their hormones. And my question after that is when people say, oh, I have like, it's my hormones, it's just hormones. What
yeah.
is happening in your body that your hormones are so off base that it's producing that much acne, right? Like what is happening in there? Like there must be something. I think what you were saying is that your face is a direct reflection of what you're putting into your body, 100%. And what happens is that I see, I've had plenty of friends that had acne going through school, like girls that were like super pretty and they literally had like acne, right? Like going through school. But some people didn't. And so I always found that very interesting, because people would say it's hormones. No one says like acne is genetic, because I don't really think, I don't believe that, right?
No.
So when I just felt bad for females that like literally get put on acne medication or like do all this stuff, right? When they're like younger and like in high school. And a lot of times, if you ever met someone that has acne, they do a million different skincare routines for their face, but they still
Yeah.
have acne,
And
right? That's
yeah.
always the case.
Yeah. And you
It's
know
all
where
bullshit.
it is. And you know where at the end of the day, you know where it's coming from. It's coming from doctors who just
Mm-hmm.
read like textbooks and just go, oh no, it's just your hormones. Like like I need to prescribe you
Yeah.
this
Here's
this
Accutane.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first line of defense is
It's,
here's
oh,
here's
yeah.
something to like mask the symptoms instead of actually like asking you, okay, what are you eating? How are you sleeping?
Yeah.
What are you
I
stressed?
will
What, you know what I'm
say
saying?
that, oh, yeah. And then, like, the other thing, so I have 2 points about, skincare, right? So, up until recently, Here's one thing I will say. When people ask me about my skin, because I tend to have okay skin, I honestly tell them that it's genetic. Like I don't tell people that like, oh, like it's this product or this is like my routine or whatever. Cause like up until I think 3 years ago, or maybe even 2 years ago, I used a bar of soap on my face, dude. Like I did not care. Like I always put jojoba oil on my face at night. But that's like literally like the extent of my skincare. Like I've literally just figured out with like what concealer was like in my adult life. It's like the little thing that goes under your eyes that's like that hides
Mm.
bags. Like it's like a makeup product that's very common. Like I
Okay.
just realized that. So I try to tell people like, yes, like what you eat. Obviously, now that I'm eating really well, like I feel like I'm now 30 years old and I feel like my skin looks great. So the second thing is that I think that skincare like only does so much. Like I think you can get a facial and I think your skin will look great after getting a facial because they get rid of
Mm.
like that dead layer of skin on your face, right? So like obviously it's going to look great. But like those aren't really, those are just like surface. Like it needs to come from within. Someone that's very specific that has kind of turned around their face is Angelina Jolie. She was actually a vegan. I know you probably remember seeing her like skin and bones, like super, super skinny at one point. And she actually talked out about like in an interview a couple of years ago about how like red meat has kind of like saved her, right? Given her what she needs. Red meat, all those different animal foods, they're going to have the collagen in them. So they're going to have the nutrients in them that produce the collagen in your skin, right? So like those are like the most important anti-aging foods is animal-based foods. That's why like when you see vegans that have like sunken eyes really, really bad, like they have a lot of stuff going on, right? I just want to clarify, like I am not wearing any makeup right now. I woke up and like I literally just kind of went
You're
like
looking
this
good. You're
and
looking
went
good for
on.
30, Nicole. You're looking
Thanks.
good for 30.
Thank
Just
you. Thank you.
saying.
And I will say like the other thing is at 30, right? Especially being like a Californian, you get so much pressure about plastic surgery, right? So I just want to like clarify something as well, right? Like anyone can do whatever the fuck you want to your face, right? Like no one's going to judge you. No one's going to tell you. Like I myself have had my lips done. That's something that I wanted to do. Um, like I think I got them done when I turned like 27, I think, or 28. I wanted bigger lips. I just wanted that, right? So I went and did it. When I was turning 30, I was like, oh my God, you know what? Like, I don't like how, like, when I do this, like, I can see like my lines. Maybe I should get like Botox. And Botox just essentially like freezes your face from actually like showing lines and stuff. Like, it's not going to get rid of acne. It's not going to get rid of like, the texture of your skin. It's literally
Mm.
just going to make it so like you don't have like refined lines. And I was like talking to Taylor about this, and he's like, why are you going to do that? And then I literally was like thinking about it, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to do it. So like I canceled my appointment. I was like, I am not going in to do that. And I also like just didn't want, I'm actually really scared to put foreign objects like in my face now because so the last time I had my lips done, this is like very interesting. The last time, and I'm very open about it. Like if anyone asks me, they're like, "Oh, do you have your lips done?" Like I will tell them. Like I'm not one of those people that wants to be like, "Oh, I haven't like had anything done." Like I don't care. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows about like, filler and stuff like that. So I might as well just be honest. Um, so the last time I had my lips done, the girl like she told me, she goes, have you been taking like fish oil or something? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she goes, you're bleeding a lot. So here's something I noticed pre carnivore when I got my lips done for like the first time, and you have like kind of like every 6 months you go and like get them done, right? That's
Okay, wait. When you
needles
say
in
when you
your
say get them
mouth.
done, like what exactly is it? Just so I know, because I'm not too
So
sure I
you
know
get
what
like
that.
filler. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. This is like, let me just dumb this out. Every single girl probably knows what I'm talking about. And then I'm like, I'm talking to guys too. So you basically, when you get your lips done, there's syringes that have certain hyaluronic acid that's in them. And hyaluronic acid is actually produced like normal in your body, but they actually like use a compound that actually like fills out your lips, right? So they come in with needles. I'm also like really not into that, but they numb your lips and then they literally just put in like needles and they fill up your lips, right? Like however much you want, like whatever, right? And that is like the filler, right? The hyaluronic acid that they're putting in your face. There's so many different types, but that's just FYI. So when I got filler in my lips, before Carnivore, I had no issues. I had no crazy bleeding. Like things were like, they healed like immediately, right? Like there wasn't any gnarly bruising. Like I was able to go and like do stuff the next day without like wearing anything, because there is bruising that happens, right? Okay, so fast forward to like, oh, this is awful, but like I think it was like March. The last time I got my lips done, I think it was December or January, maybe October. Yes, okay, October 2020. October 2020, right? Was the last time I got my lips done. And so the girl comes over and she goes, "Hey, like you're bleeding a lot. Like, have you been taking like fish oil, like in like high doses or something? Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, have you taken Advil recently? Because they tell you not to take blood thinners or anything like that either, because like those will make you bleed more." And she goes, "I've never seen you bleed like this. Like, and this is like a regular person I see, like that she knows what she's doing. She knows my face." And she's like, what's going on? Like, this is kind of, cause she was freaked out and I was freaked out. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just eat, like, I eat a really high protein diet. Like, I don't know. And I eat tons of eggs. And she's like, oh. And so I guess like the reason I tell you to avoid fish oil and like fish products before you go is that something about the omega-3s make it so like, I guess your circulation is better or something like that, like in your body. And so like it doesn't coagulate or it doesn't
Clots.
like, I guess, scab or like stop as quickly. So because I eat a shit ton of eggs like every single day, it was like doing the same thing. And I eat like salmon roe. I'm like literally like, I'm like the worst patient to like, like do this. And anyways, like after that, I have like pictures. I had the worst bruising I've ever seen. Like I literally thought, I was like, oh my God, dude, like I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like I'm gonna die. Like I like not die, but I was like, something is wrong. And so I had to go back to her. She had to look at it to make sure like she didn't inject like a capillary, because you can actually like inject a vein. And if you inject a vein, what happens is the vein dies because it doesn't get oxygen. So if you've ever seen like plastic surgery gone wrong from like lip filler, it's usually because your face right here is very vascular. You have a lot of veins, whether you know it or not. And if you actually inject a like a vein, then it actually makes it so the capillary dies and then it like turns black. So I had like a black lip up here. I'm like freaking out because I have like eventually like I know that like I'm getting engaged. Like I just, I was like, oh, I'm getting engaged like by end of year. Like I can't have this like messed up or like ruin my face. Like, did I just ruin my face? So that was the last time I got my lips done, and October 2020. And I am just like now, like I'm just paranoid. So like I was so nervous. I canceled my appointment. I was like, I don't want to go in and do that. Like I don't want to
Were
have
you
that
supposed
whole
to have
thing
like
happen
were you
again.
supposed to have like a follow-up? Is that what you're saying? Were you supposed to
Yeah, like
have
I was supposed to, basically when I was here in San Diego, I was like, oh, I'll just go see her and like top off or like, get a little like stuff in my lips or whatever, which obviously like I don't need. And then like, second of all, I wanted to like try Botox. And like, I'm just glad that like my husband was like, why, like you don't need that. Like you shouldn't get anything unless like you need it, I guess, was like his point. And he's like, you don't need it. And I'm like, thank you. But I'm all about it. Like if someone wants to do it, like go crazy, you do you. But all I'm saying is that both make it so I guess your forehead doesn't move, or like you don't have like lines and stuff in your forehead. But it won't solve like acne. Like it won't solve like if you eat bad stuff, like stuff will still come up,
it's a very interesting conversation, this, because I mean, personal example, like my hair has been thinning since I was like, honestly, like 16, 17. I used to play golf, and I don't know if you've seen golfers, but because you're wearing a hat all day long, like most golfers, like their hair is receding really badly. So my hair has been receding like for a very, very long time.
Wait, so is it the hat before? It's like the chicken and the egg. So is it the
Uh,
hat that does it? Or is it like, do you wear a hat because you're covering that it's like slowly happening and you
True,
notice it?
true. I don't know. I don't. It's probably a bit of both. And listen, the male side of my family, like their hair situation is not good at all. So it's probably more
Oh, okay. So it's
genetics.
genetic, right?
It
Yeah,
is,
yeah. Okay,
but
okay.
if you but literally if you have a look at most golfers
Mm-hmm.
in general, their hair is like really bad. And in fact, I was reading something the other day that the best thing for your hair is direct sunlight exposure. So actually, like sunlight on your hair is the
They're
best
doing
thing.
the opposite.
Exactly. And but to me, this opens up like a whole another like world that's interesting because I mean, I know a few friends of mine that have had their hair transplants and it actually it looks pretty fucking good, to be honest. Like they
Machine
take,
Gun Kelly.
yeah, they take grafts from the back of your hair and they put it in the
Mm-hmm.
front and things like that. And it looks pretty good. But I was saying to somebody the other day, I don't want to be on record saying this and then I end up getting this one day, but I was saying
No,
like
like people's opinions change.
yeah, but you sort of reach a stage like where, okay, you are here for a finite time on earth, you will age, aging is a normal thing. Like even the meat-based people that are fit and do all the biohacks, if you try and control too many, well, this is a personal belief. Obviously, if you enjoy doing that stuff and it's like what you do, that's okay. I'm saying for me, I feel as though like I need to accept, who I am and how I feel in my body, and I will be aging, my skin will be changing. There will be a
Mm-hmm.
few lines appearing here and there, and that's like completely normal. If you look at any sort of anything in nature, whether it's a tree, whether it's an
Yeah.
animal, everything grows and ages, and it's just a sign of your like maturity at the end of the day. It's nothing to be feared. I think there's, you were saying like about living in California, I think there's this inherent fear that is amongst most people that, oh, you have to go get these things because if you don't, you won't be loved or you won't be worthy or you won't be this, you won't be that. You know what I'm saying? But there's something quite like, have you ever seen somebody that's like just aged gracefully and they've just accepted their aging? And it's actually
Hold on
quite
a second though. Here's the thing, and we actually got in a huge debate about this with our husbands when I was in Utah with our friends about like plastic surgery and aging. So, okay, here's the thing. I think that guys, I like trying to be very careful in my head how I say this. Um, so I think that men sometimes don't notice things where people have had work done, and maybe it's very minor, very, very tasteful work. And then they think to themselves, oh, that person aged just so gracefully, right? Like what comes to mind is Jennifer Aniston. Okay. Jennifer Aniston, right? Like Jennifer Aniston looks her age. And I think the reason she looks her age is she hasn't overdone it with plastic surgery to the extent that you think,
Mm,
oh, she's fighting her aging, right?
mm,
So it's very tasteful, and people are usually a fan of Jennifer Aniston as being this natural person, right? Like this natural person who's aging very gracefully, right? Here's the thing, though, that people don't realize. Jennifer Aniston has had work done. She has had Botox. She has had fillers. She has had, you name it, right? She has had it done, right? However, she's had it very tastefully, right? So the thing that I am kind of like with men is that I don't think men notice. And they just think, wow, she aged gracefully. And us women are like, oh, so you think that's aging gracefully, even though, and like naturally, even though she has had work done. So I feel like for us women, it's kind of like a lose-lose, because it's almost like a dirty secret that when you get to a certain age, you do certain stuff. And it can be like even the most like chill person that doesn't believe in that still like wants to get some stuff done very, very tastefully. So they don't look like, you can still get plastic surgery done that's very, very minor, very tasteful, and then you turn out looking like Jennifer Aniston, who looks her age but still looks gracefully aging, right, and
yeah.
natural. So
Yeah.
that's my issue, is that guys think that just because if you get like work done, that you're going to turn out looking like that lion lady who like is just like crazy looking, right? When like in reality, like you can do like the Jennifer Aniston thing. And I've also seen friends' parents who don't get anything done. And like they definitely like have more wrinkles and stuff, but I don't think it really matters. I just think it's kind of like a personal basis, right? Like it's a
Mm.
personal choice, right? Like who wants to do what. But again, like Josh, I will tell you, girls are really good at like knowing who has like some stuff done and not. And like a lot of times it looks great, a lot of times, but either way, like I'm just saying, like, make sure that if you're thinking of a gracefully aging person, like send me their photo and I'll like tell you like what
Okay.
that, yeah, I'll tell you what
I'll
happened.
I'll be sure to do it. Yeah, point taken. And again, like if that makes you happy and it makes you feel better, and do it. But my thing is, and maybe it is different because maybe I am a guy, so there's a completely different like viewpoint that I'm coming at this from. But I mean, I suppose there are many guys that are doing things to their body these days, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
they do.
but
Wait, yes, they
but
do. Oh my God. Botox
yeah.
is making a comeback in men. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, and I heard, actually, in fact, I heard Tom Cruise did something recently and it backfired, but I might be I might be wrong. Somebody told
Zac
me that.
Efron.
Oh, it was Zac
Did you
Efron?
see Zac Efron after
No.
he had like some filler in his face? Okay. There was like a whole thing and like whatever, but I think like he just got some filler in his face and it just was like very like there's just a little bit of like a shock value, I think, when someone like
Mm,
changes their face a little bit and doesn't let the aging process happen. So there's like this really careful dance that people have to do with like plastic surgery, or not even plastic surgery, but like fillers, things that
yeah,
are just like super easy to do, right?
yeah,
But I just say, hey, whatever you do, you, man. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and but like exactly, and for me, it's just like the sentiment. Okay, so the basic premise is that you haven't fully accepted the fact that you are like this aging person, and you are going to get old one day. I think in my like personal conviction, it's far easier to work on yourself and loving yourself a bit more, going through the work and going through the motions and accepting everything about you, than like risking it all. Even like, you could do some graceful treatment and it could turn out horribly wrong. You just never know. Like you said, it could hit your vein and your face could never be the same again. Do you know what I'm saying? So like for me, the
Yeah.
safest like route is going the self-acceptance routes, the self-love routes, and all of that. But that's just me. I accept that I'm not everyone.
Wait, I do have one thing, Josh, that I've noticed is like I think, okay, here's one thing. Genetics play a freaking huge role. Like a huge role. Like I recently posted on my story that like my dad was like a professional tennis player, right? So
Mm,
he was like always in really great shape. Mid 40s when we were like 10 years old or so, like he went through, or like late 30s, early 40s, he went through a phase of like golf and wine, like 24/7, right? And he actually had like a belly and like definitely was like puffy and stuff, right? And so my point is like no matter your genetics, because like his mom, my grandma, is like 92 now, and like she, up until recently, she was playing tennis like 3 times a week. So like I do think genetics play a role, but like if you change your lifestyle and you're drinking wine and just playing golf 24/7, like it's going to catch up with you and it's going to show. And the same thing is true also with like I don't think any plastic surgery can really save you from aging. However, it can maybe just have like a little bit of like a less uh traumatizing like
yeah,
effect, as you do age. Like it might be something that you want to do to help you age gracefully, right? Like I don't care what people do. Like rock on, do whatever you want. I'm not here to judge you. I've had my lips done, right? Like I don't care.
yeah,
But I think that there is like the accepting yourself, right? Like there is, this also comes down to people using face filters and Facetune because they don't want to post the actual photo of themselves that's raw, that's unedited, right? So I think that there's certain things that people do where it like it kind of like it impedes self-acceptance, and it makes it so like you don't accept yourself as you naturally are. Right. Someone probably out there has an argument and is like, Nicole, like, you don't love yourself. Like, you got your lips done. And it's like, no, that's not really like, I own up to it as well. However, I'm not wearing like a face filter and like talking to you and saying, hey, like Carnivore has really helped me with my face and my skin. And then like having like a face filter on me, right? Which
Yeah.
totally like hides any pores or anything real. So I think that there's just like a fine line with like self-acceptance. And I think that I'm personally like in the camp where I'm not about face filters. Like, I
Yeah.
think that they're
And
very damaging.
yeah, and you mentioned something important, and by no means did I mean to say that you weren't accepting of yourself. And
No,
also,
no, I'm just saying there's somewhere out there. Someone probably
yeah,
thinks that. Yeah.
and to be honest with you, like, I'm a firm believer in a process. Like, healing is a process. You know, we are not the same people that we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
I had like a whole bunch of tattoos done on my leg like 8 years ago. I was so embarrassed. Like a couple of years ago, I was so embarrassed. I went and got inquired to get them removed from my leg.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I now look at them and they serve as this like amazing reminder to me about that time in my life, and
Yeah.
how how much I should accept, what's happened, and all the things that have made me who I am, not to get all cliche, people say, yo, your tattoos are like your tattoos are like words in a book, it's a journey, you've got to read it.
Oh
No,
no.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that I went through a stage where I was so embarrassed by having them on my leg that I wanted to get them removed. But then as I grew up and as I started healing myself, I just realized those are the perfect reminder. That's exactly what you need. You need to look at that and be like, wow, like, how grateful are you for, like, at that time having those done? And, we're talking about two things. We're talking about doctors, when it comes to like plastic surgery and stuff, and genetics. I actually recently started reading Walt Whitman is a famous
Love it.
American poet. Yes. But he wrote a series of articles in the newspaper in like 1853. So what's that? It's like
Wow.
over 170 years ago. He wrote these articles called Manly Health and Training. And I've been really like absorbing the material and reading it. And one of his quotes, he talks about how basically, great strength comes from the work that you put in and the daily grind that you put in through specific training. And he even talks about genetics. He says genetics do play a role, just like you were saying. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact of the matter is that you can shift your biology in a way that's beneficial to the thing that you are doing. You can't
Yeah.
nobody can, you can't change the cards that you're adults, but you can maximize what cards you put down on the table and what you choose to play. And there's just so much you can do with it. And like, I'm a big fan. Mark Bell says, strength is never weakness and weakness is never strength. So
Oh my
weakness
God,
is
I
never
love
strength.
Mark Bell.
Yeah.
No,
but
I love him.
strength is never weakness. You can not go wrong with working on yourself physically, and whether that's like exercise or
Mm-hmm.
diet or whatever. You may not change the aesthetic beauty of your skin pigmentation or things like that, but you will put on muscle, you will become faster, you will become leaner. And that
Yeah.
that in and of itself is a form of anti-aging. That's what people misunderstand, is that
Oh,
exercise and eating
yeah.
well is the ultimate anti-aging pill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it's not even biohacking at this point to be
Yeah.
like, hey, like, if you eat whole foods and you exercise, you're going to live longer. It's just, here's my thing is that, like, I know, like, people are lazy, man. Like, people want, like, especially now in this day and age, right? Like, people want the easy fix, right? Like, they want the pill. They want the thing that's going to have the path of least resistance and the quickest way to get what they want. I
Mm.
think that we're losing touch with self-discipline. I think that people think that routine and restriction from certain foods, right, is something that's actually like against, I don't know, just like against the times, right? Like it's like hurting you. but it's actually really helping. So I think there's just this huge thing around self-discipline and routine where like people are like, oh, like, that Josh, he wakes up every morning at 5 a.m. Like, that's insane. I could never do that. Right.
Mm,
Like, I mean, so many people are like that. Right. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to like eat this salad for dinner and then like I'll lose the weight, instead of being like, yo, like get your ass in the gym. Right.
yeah.
Like, you don't have to restrict yourself when you're eating. Right. People think also that carnivore is like this super difficult thing. They think it's like this, I don't know, they think it's something that's like, I've had people tell me that it's kind of like a very crazy thing to do. And it's like a super extreme diet to follow, like it's something like, oh, I could never do that. Again, I could never do that. But it's
Yeah.
actually like the most simple thing, as we've discussed on here. But my whole thing is that I think that a lot of times people wake up, and I talk about this a lot on my Instagram, right? Like people wake up in the morning and like they're not excited for life. They're not excited for the day, right? Like they have this mentality of like, oh, I have to do this, 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 and this today, right? Instead of saying, oh, I get to go to the gym. I get to work my job, which pays me money. Like I am grateful. I am thankful. Like less and less people are thinking that. And so I think if you're in a job that you hate, right? And all your friends, all your family knows that, you hate the job, like you have the power to change that, right? Like you got this job, right? You're, a capable person, hopefully, right? Um, Go get another job, right? Like no one's holding a gun to your head, right? Well, at least I hope not. Like telling you have to stay in that job, right? So like people get in this mindset of just like job hating and just, complaining a lot, to the point where like everyone knows that you hate your job, right?
Yeah.
Like people need to realize that like you're not a tree, you can move, right? Like if you don't like where you live, you can leave, like it's just do what you need to do to wake up and be excited, right? Like I went to bed last night at 12:30 and I was like texting you and I was like, hey, we got to push this a half hour because like I knew I was going to be tired and I went out and I was still so excited when I woke up. I like texted you and I was like, oh, I just woke up. Like, and you're like, cool, go get coffee. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna walk the dogs or like whatever. But I was still like, I'm so happy for like doing the day. Like after this, like whether Taylor comes with you or not, like I'm gonna go to the gym and like I'm just extremely thankful that I
Mm,
even have access to a gym, that I even have a car that I can
yeah.
get to the gym, like I think people look at things so, half empty. And people need to be more grateful and thankful for what they do have, because there's a lot of people in the world that don't have those things.
Yeah.
So
And
that's my mind right now.
and the thing is that, oftentimes, I'm not saying it's always this way, but oftentimes it's coming from within. So if you are maybe a bit unhappy or you, I don't know, feeling a little bit lethargic, whatever, just like you said, get your fucking ass to the gym.
Yeah.
Who knows what that's going to do? I'm not saying that's going to solve your job problems, but if it makes you feel better and it gives you more energy, and eating a meat-based diet, gives you that extra bit of mental clarity in the day, makes you a better human, people are more happy to be around you. Who knows? You might just end up fucking
Yeah.
enjoying your job a bit more. You might just end up smiling a bit more. You might just end up going, wow, actually, you know what? I'm the fucking dick. I'm the guy who's not doing shit. Maybe it's me, maybe it's
Yeah.
actually me. One of my favorite quotes, I don't want to butcher it, but it's you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. So,
Mm.
and that could not be more true, is that the outside world is a reflection of your inside state. Okay,
Yeah.
obviously there's certain like things, barrier, like, okay, where you're going to live is a huge decision. You just moved from Amsterdam to Boise. Where you live is a big decision that's going to change a lot of things in your life. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
that is an outside factor that's warranted for change. But there's so much else, like 99% of the stuff out there does not warrant you trying to change it. You'd rather change your internal state and the things you can do internally, and it's going to make a huge difference externally, if you know what I'm saying.
Totally. You got to look internal. I think that's like the first thing. Like if you're waking up, like you said, if you're waking up and you're unhappy, you need to first look internally and figure out like what's going on. Are you, like there's so many different things, but I agree with you too, Josh. Like there's some days where I'm sure you have it too, where we wake up and like, we're not feeling it. We're kind of like, well, like I'm just over it today. Like I'm not really feeling it, whatever. Right. And then you get to the gym, like you do your routine, right? It's important to have those routines and that self-discipline, because then you get in the gym and lo and behold, you have like the best workout ever, right? And you're like, gosh, I needed this. And like after the workout, you're like, God, that felt so good. Like, I feel great. And you also feel like, like a hit of like success, right? Or the hit of like accomplishment, right? Like all those little wins that you have throughout the day, whether you know it or not, I think they end up giving you confidence, right? So if you're saying, hey, like go to the gym, like who knows, that might make the difference with your mood. Or maybe it just gives you the confidence to interview and leave a job that you hate, like you don't know, or maybe you are the problem, you know? So if you can do, like, my whole thing is that, here's a weird example, right? Like I want to have kids, right? Like eventually. And my whole thing, and like why I went on this carnivore journey to an extent, was that I wanted my mind and my body, like physically and mentally, be ready to like bring kids into the world, right? Have my body be able to handle childbirth and, recover from that. Have my mind be able to deal with lack of sleep and like, lack of just like the norm, right? Like a new thing introduced into my life. So that's part of the reason why, like I stick with it so much, is that when I am ready to have kids, I want that. And I recently had a friend say to me, and they're like, nothing can prepare you like for, having children. And I'm like, oh, my dog's here.
Your other children. Your other
Yeah,
children.
nothing can prepare you for having children. And I'm like, yeah, but if I can actually like get my mind and my body in like in the best possible like way, like why wouldn't I do that? So you're just saying I should just throw in the towel, eat Pop-Tarts, and then just like bring a kid in the world, like when I feel like shit, and like when I like mentally am just like I didn't understand that thought process. And maybe like I'm interpreting it wrong, but I was like, dude, like I'm going to do everything in my control to make sure this can go as good as it can. Right.
Yeah.
So,
And the amounts of, speaking of the amounts of success stories I've heard of people that could never have children. I think it was Kelly Hogan was one of
yes,
them. People could
yes.
never have children, went carnivore, popping out babies left, right, and
Popping out
center.
kids left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. If honestly, if that's not like the perfect n equals one like answer, like anecdotes, then I don't know what is. It's maybe it's not scientifically reviewed at the moment, but that there's so many people. If you search carnivore diet, giving birth or something like that, you are guaranteed to see all these people telling you their
Yeah.
stories of how they could never have kids, they were infertile, and now all of a sudden they're fertile. Like that's incredible. That is
Oh,
without any
yeah.
drugs. That's incredible.
No, it's insane. And like I think not even to that level, but why would you not want, let's just take carnivore even out of the equation. Like why would you not mentally, spiritually, physically want to be in the best possible state and the best possible level, um like in all those ways before you bring a freaking child into the world, right? Like I don't want to be reactive. Like
Mm,
if you're going into like having a child and you're physically not in good shape, you're probably never going to be physically in shape, is what I've seen. Like it's probably never going to happen. Like if you're not going into it in a like, that's just my opinion, that like if it doesn't start before you bring children in the world, like it's probably not going to randomly pick up, like there are,
mm,
I think, people who have success stories, like on the Sweat app. There's a girl, her name's Kelsey. She's like one of the trainers on the app that like you pay for to use, and she really like, she had kids and like she didn't feel good about herself, and so she started like a workout program, and now she's like ripped, right? I think those are like the exception, that's not the rule. Like if you
yeah.
go and approach kids and you're mentally not well, we're talking about past traumas, right? Like if you're mentally, internally, like not doing well and you're like dealing with stuff, and then you bring a kid in the world, like what are the chances that you pass on traumas from your past, or you create new traumas, right? Like for that
Absolutely.
kid, I just think it's almost like irresponsible to bring kids in the world when you're not ready for it. So I'm like Jocko style. Like
Mm,
I'm like I'm on this. Like, let's freaking go. Like, let's get ready. Like, let's
Sounds
get
like
ready for like the
sounds like
hardest
Ren
thing.
or Reagan's also on this for us.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, let's go. They're like, we don't want to,
Yes.
I don't know, brother or sister, but whatever. But yeah, like I'm approaching it like I'm being like Jocko, like I want to do this well. So I'm going to give myself every advantage possible for bringing a child into the world, which I think is one of the most, um, difficult things like in life to do. So anyways, that's my TED talk on bringing children into the world.
Well done.
Oh my God. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I have a question for you. Someone asked me this recently about like my drive and like what drives me. Um, like people have different drives. Maybe like they're very driven. Like right now, Taylor is very driven on growing his company, and like work drive, right? Like I'm very driven right now on like healing myself and like just becoming a better person, like physically, mentally, everything. So I want to ask you, like, what drives you every day?
It's a really good question. I would say for me, it's like ending the suffering for the individual and like having that be in the betterment for the collective. Because I believe, you know me well. I read a lot and I absorb a lot of information from really like interesting sources and esoteric people and ideas and things like that. And I think what drives me the most is like the inner transformation of people and how that affects the rest of like society. And like, the collective conscious is real. If you can be like, you know, okay, a few months ago, I went to a festival. It was amazing. Took a few psychedelics. The moon was amazing. The moon was just like,
The moon.
I've never seen a moon shine so bright in my life. But I was sitting there and I was just like, oh my gosh, like that is what you want to be like. You want to be like the moon. You want to be this bright fucking moon in the sea of darkness. Because if you are that bright moon in the sea of darkness, guarantee you, everyone will look to you for direction. And like obviously there's a shadow there because when you're being the moon, you can tend to maybe use that to fill your desire for acceptance or love or get more likes on Instagram. 100%. I fall into that trap all the time. Who doesn't? But my main motivation is to be like the moon, is to be that bright freaking light that just shines in the darkness, especially now. It's like just to be the light in the
Yeah.
darkness.
Wait, that's
Yeah.
so nice.
Thank
That's
you.
like such a nice answer. Oh my gosh. I'm like, geez.
Very, very
No,
poetic.
that's so nice. And I think you are that. And I don't know. I think that's a great way to kind of approach it. But you want to be, I think even Jordan Peterson, not to drop him in this again, but I think he even says something like that, like, be the person that you always dreamed of being, like, and that, be someone that you'd love to be friends with, right? Like it's kind of, I don't know, like someone that you want to be around, right? Like be that person that like you
Yeah.
want to become, and that starts with your actions. It's what you do, it's what you say. But you also have to get to the point where like you believe those things and it's like true and it's authentic. I think that Ernest Hemingway was always like, if it's true, like that's all that matters, right? If it's true, it's good.
Yeah.
So I think if it's true and like you're authentic and you're genuine in what you're trying to do, and maybe, show the world, hey, like Carnivore's great, this is great. Like, I'm just trying to help you. Here's some biohacks that like you can do throughout the day, right? Like, why not? Like, like we're not hurting anyone. We're just trying to add some value to your life, and it's take it or leave it, right? There's no judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, I know we sort of capping off soon, but the thing is that you said something that it's like authentic. It is you that's going to do that. No one else, so we can look to these gurus and these freaking Instagram influencers and all these people. You can look to them for advice, but at the end of the day, you can only ever like walk the path yourself. You can only ever like take the steps yourself. And when you become like your own guru, I like to say you like be your own guru, and you become your own guru and you listen to your own intuition and stuff, like amazing shit happens. You feel like you can trust yourself more. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it's so important. Like we said, like if you're not happy in your life right now, look internally first, see what's going on, like try to figure it out, right? Like be your own, like you said, be your own guru, like see what's happening. Like, is it like, okay, you know, um, am I upset because maybe like I don't have enough routine right now? Or am I in a bad relationship? Like, there's just so many things where you can look inward, or like, is this a response to past trauma and I need to heal that? My dogs are like fighting right now. So gnarly. I don't know if you can hear them. They're like,
Yeah, they go for it. They're hungry.
oh yeah, they're like grabbing each other's tail right now, and like the other one's trying to like drag the other one to like show dominance. But yeah, always gonna say is that if you can like just look internally first, that's great too, because you also don't want to look externally and like spend like thousands of dollars on certain things. Like I'm all about therapy, but like if there's certain things that you need to buy, or like certain products that you're being sold because you feel a certain way, like before you even go that route, just like try your best to like it's hard sometimes too. Like sometimes a therapist or another person can help you realize certain things about yourself. But if you can understand maybe like a flaw, or maybe something that's internally like upsetting you or that you need to fix, especially before bringing kids in the world, like work on that, right? Like acknowledge it and like do things to make that better.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone can change. I really do.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Well, that was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
I don't
What
know
is
how
it,
you
7?
feeling. Yeah.
No, I'm feeling great. I don't even know where I am, but I feel great. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
No, but
that
like
was
seriously, I'm like,
that was so good. And it was so nice to catch up again. I know
yeah,
your life at the minute is a little bit crazy all over the place, but that was truly cool. It's truly cool to catch up again and speak about some cool
yeah,
things.
yeah. And that's life. Life's always going to be crazy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
never stops. That's the
Oh
fun part.
yes.
But yeah. Um, yeah, wow, we covered a lot of random different things that definitely were not planned at all. I mean, nothing was
This was a
planned, but
completely unplanned episode. Like usually we have some sort of like running order that just doesn't get acknowledged most of the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
But
Like we're
this
just
just was
oh
just
yeah.
uh
Which is great. But yeah, if
yeah.
anyone ever has something that you want us to speak about specifically or any questions, let us know so we can address them. But yeah, meat base number 7, I think. We
Oh
out.
yes. We out.
All
Cheers.
right. Bye everyone. Thank you for listening.